I don't care. That's an old
Definitely
one.
not. You guys good? You gonna push?
It's up to the crew. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Back at me. Do I have a remote?
Yeah, you got right here.
All right. Show of hands, who's been expeditionary before? Appointment, stuff like that? All right. Hey, I'm H1 Narvaez. Been in for a minute now. Been with the Marines several times, MARSOG. I ran 2 Helo dunkers during my tenure. Now I'm Naval Medical Forces Atlantic, so if you need anything, I'm on the 14th floor. Come get me, all right? Nav 14295 Bravo. There's gonna be some stuff here in red. Make sure you write it down if you have questions. Ask them questions, all right? Who's really familiar with the repetition of the test? Right, we get the pips, but there's some things that you see over and over. You see them from the time you were third, second, and first, but the senior you get, there's more programs and some other things, so you've gotta take the time to study, you gotta take the time to look at those things. What I've been doing, and I'm not a great test taker, is I try to work on my weaknesses. Same thing I do with my PT. I sucked at swimming when I went to the doctor, so guess what I did? I started swimming. If you know that, you know patient care, and you're solid on patient care, I'm not saying don't study that, but try to concentrate on the things that you don't see every day. You guys agree? Kind of?
Lunch will be
Maybe.
11 to 13.
Let's talk about expeditionary medicine and administration. Look at the P117. All these little things at some point you're gonna see in the test. So take those notes, take a picture if you need to take a picture, all right? Bits are big, you have to pay attention to them. Look at your previous profile sheet, figure out what you're lacking, concentrate your efforts, maximize. Who got the best app? Is it BMR? Is it Blue Jacketeer?
I'm pretty biased with Blue Jacketeer.
Blue Jacketeer? Yep.
I know a lot of things, it's really helped me out. It's consistently helped me get 70s on my test. Even the times I didn't pick up, I got 70s off that. And I was studying, like, it has an offline version. So when I was deployed, that's what I would use all in the field.
I'm partial to GoHMU.
The
So-
thing is,
I'm one of the makers of GoHMU, so that site has full of PowerPoints, the references, quizzes. Use it at your fingertips, use it on your phone, and you can carry it as you go. We update it every single cycle with the newest PowerPoints, and that's how I'm running what we have right now is through that. So it's free also.
Yep.
GoHMU.
And I can vouch too, because the guy that made that was my mentor when I was second class. He's a badass.
There's a lot of research nowadays that we didn't have 15, 20 years ago. Those are good, and you technically learn a lot of stuff based on repetition, but it's good sometimes to take a quick pause and try to understand the specifics about that knowledge you're trying to gain. Make sense? That way you can make a more informed, I will not say guess or choice on your questions, because how many of you have taken that test and you know 2 are definitely the wrong answer, but 2 are very freaking close? Come on, man, right? When I take EMT exams, it's black and white. They're not trying to trick you and stuff like that, right? Oxygen, oxygen, oxygen every time, kind of. But the idea is that you try to understand a little bit of what's going on. Who's dealt with SAMs before? All right. Take a look, figure out what it is, right? The big thing is, if you are gonna be in an expeditionary environment, and you're in charge of some type of programs, you need to make sure that number 1, you have access, and you have the proper tools to maintain and do whatever you gotta do with SAMs. My IDC over here, have you used SAMs?
Team now. Team that thing is still shit, so.
And again, this is more for your knowledge of the test. Take little chunks over here, because there might be a question out there that asks you about SAMs.
Yeah.
But from the expeditionary standpoint, you wanna make sure that it works. And if you have any issues, you gotta let the people know right away. For example, Prevent Medicine has some issues with this, getting their numbers together and stuff like that. It's a pain sometimes. Technology is amazing when it properly works, right?
Or team up with Genesis.
Best thing ever.
Or
right?
team up with Genesis.
Inactive is awesome, right? It's going over there, so. Couple things over here, battalion aid stations, was my first 10 years. I belong to the BAS, from 2A to MARSOC to different companies and stuff like that. What it is to provide direct support company, platoon corpsman, and provide advanced trauma life support under fire. Normally, you used to have 2 medical officers, now you also have PAs and the IDCs, man. My IDCs, to be free, they were awesome. They wanted to go outside the wire, but we told them no, stay at the BAS. You're very significant to the Navy, you gotta be there and do SITCO. Me personally, I'm not an IDC, but I work SITCO hand-to-hand a lot at Parris Island, so I learned a lot about SITCO. So people thought that I was an IDC, it's like, I know, I've just been seeing a lot of patients for too many years. It is normally comprised of 2 medical officers and up to 65 HMs. How many times that question's been on the test?
A lot.
Almost all the time.
Almost all the
Yeah.
time, that's why it's in red. So remember that.
This is
alright?
a consistent question right here, guys.
Hardcore. Every single test, it's in there. So that's why it's in red, that's why I want to point that out. There's different breakdowns right now when it comes to the BAS. Sometimes depending on where you're going, the main BAS might be at a specific base, and there might be tiny little attachments of the BAS at some faults. Sometimes medical officers and sometimes IDCs go somewhere else within the vicinity. I'm dating myself, I'm pretty old school. Fleet hospitals, you're definitely gonna see this question too. Medical facilities, expeditionary medical facilities with up to 500 beds. You always see that. The requirements are identified by the combatant commanders, COCOM. That's exactly my job right now. I'm dealing with combatant commanders and we're trying to revamp what our new EMS are gonna be. Juliet, Kilo, FMTPMUs, all the XMS, that's my job right now. I'm trying to really help develop the future of what we're gonna do when it comes to Navy medicine, specifically expeditionary. But these questions are not gonna change. Fleet hospitals are designed to be used in operations greater than 60 days. Guarantee you're gonna see that question too. I know I already saw the PowerPoint, but any other questions that you remember specific to this?
No, I think the biggest thing to hit on, and this is where you guys should remember this about the Corpsman Manual. There's a reason why people say they store the Corpsman Manual, it helps. This is your foundation. It literally branches off to every single other instruction on your bib. So you're going to see this chapter, and then it's going to branch off to the MCTP instruction, or the NRTP instruction, or any of your augmentation type instructions, right? So use this as a foundation, and I guarantee you, it will eventually lead you to every single instruction on your bibliography.
Sometimes it's good to read a little bit over those bits because you get a little bit more understanding than just doing the repetition. Sometimes the brain play games, and the thing that I hate the most is when I have that 50-50 question. Like, I know this two are wrong, I know this two are right, and you're like, oh, I'm down to 50-50 again. So if you read the bibs, it might give you a specific chunk of information that will help you distinguish between those two that are correct, or one that is 100% correct. Naval Mobile Construction Battalions. There are a total of 8 Naval Mobile Construction Battalions. That one's probably gonna be there. Who's been with the Seabees? You want? All right. They have a phenomenal training pipeline in Gulfport, Mississippi that we might start sending foremen to those courses too, because it will augment the expeditionary capabilities of HMs. Yes, Chief?
You kind of gotta stay up forward because he's doing virtual, and so they have to hear you.
I did not know that.
It's all good.
For my virtual people, I'll be up here now. All right. 8, figure out not only how many, but where they at. You're definitely gonna see that question. It's always there. Maybe every other test, not every single one.
Well, I've even seen where they're home ported in as well. So
Yeah.
Gulfport, Mississippi, and Port Hueneme, California. That's also
Yep.
important.
So not only how many, but where they at located.
But the amount of seed that's housed never change. It's always 8. Okay.
Until the budget change. then the budget's gonna change, but the answer's not gonna change. Normally, when it comes to the test, we're always behind. So always, like, if you have a question that you know it's wrong now based on new, parameters, challenge it, but most likely, we're gonna go with the last right answer. Make sense? Questions? That was brief. Is anyone online communicating, doing messages or anything like that?
Nobody has any questions right now.
Oh, nice.
Take the time to study, figure out what works for you. I normally start 60 to 120 days out.